So let's record and start again. So where were we?
Hello.
I think we
Yes,
went
sure.
a quick overview of
On questions and
capability.
answers.
Go ahead.
Yes. For me, it's all technical, and it seems working well. Just two questions maybe at this point. So when we can transfer your experience into building an actual application. And so the second question, it's about hash tables, which
Yes.
needs to be stored on a computer.
Let me
Rather than hash table, or that is a part.
So the hash so on your computer,
IPFS.
Sorry, on your computer, you only need to store the data that you want to access. So you don't need to store the whole world. Like if I interested in only what my friends is sharing in /etc, I will have just that file. If you look at the status, I have with all what I've used, I only have 27 megabytes, and then I still have all the tools and then all or even I have only 2 megabytes of files. Oh no, this only at that level on total.
Mm-hmm.
No, I have only 27 megabyte totals of files because there is the browser and all the things. But in my repository, only 2 megabytes of files. And so you store only what you need.
Yes. Yeah.
And so the hash tables is that like the mutable, it's small. It's very small files that contain just the hash that give you access to the files. That doesn't mean you have the data locally. However, if you decide you want to merge and to shrink, you merge the data, you will move the files locally. And that's where you have all the files that are locally from the blockchain that are there. You have the README, for instance. I can delete that one, and that does not destroy anything on the blockchain. The next time that I want to get access to the files, I will still have it, because in the mutable blockRing log, I have the files that is here, and so I can always go to that file with this permanent address. So I can destroy all the mutable link. That does not remove the permanent hash links. I don't know if it's.
Yes, it would be nice to see the screen, but I probably understand what you do.
Sorry, I forgot to share.
No, that's fine.
Okay. But yeah.
It was actually my question that. Yeah, what you're showing is probably anyway, it's part of the file system on your computer. What you shown on the browser?
No.
Yes.
Not even file
no,
system. No, it's nothing to do. Let me share again my screen. Share screen.
Yeah, just
share.
My big concern is if you're working with databases, it may be tricky, because databases may be corrupted, and then I'm not sure what we do with all the data.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that all the files that are here are not.
Yeah.
They are. This tree has nothing to do with my file system.
Yeah.
I can have a copy. I can get a copy, for instance, of etc. Like if I copy, let me go back. If I select that and I do copy share links, copy the link, it's probably the hash that I should copy, but anyway. And I can do cd whatever, and I say IPMS get. Let me get just the hash, and I call it my etc -o my etc, and I have a directory my etc. But if I don't do physical get, I won't have the files. The files are located in the folder. So there is a cached version of the files that are there, which are in IPFS here. There is a repertory blocks, and here are all the files. And if you go cd, let's say zy, for instance, I have files that are like that, with permanent hashes and data. And so what does that mean is that all the files corresponding to those are somewhere in this tree. Dot. So it's all Windows things. If you have a corruption, what does that mean is one of those files can be corrupted. The thing is, you can just remove it, and then you will pull from the network if there is corruption. But the thing is that if this file, if the IPFS repository is corrupted, you can just clean it up, and then it fetches back the data. The thing is that if there is a corruption, it does not propagate, because you verify, when you get a file, you verify that its hash is compatible. Like this file, let's say IPFS --q--n zz /com. So this file has a hash of that, and so normally, yes. So if I want to get the address, I go if I want to see what's the file, HTTP 91.97 IPFS, and I place the hash. And it's probably a piece of data that I don't know where it is, but or IPMS DAG get. I don't get it. Let me do it the other way. B and the name. Copy, paste. Okay, so I get the object. So it's a folder, but not even. It's a portion of a file. So no, README. So that's a folder. That's a folder README and of. So yeah, I'll probably be able to see it then. On the network side, V. There you go. So that's the folder. So this file there that is in the cache corresponds to that, and I can still go and see all different files. So there's two things: is that there is the file system of the machine, and there is the IPFS repository. The IPFS repository are a copy of the permanent record. So if you remove them and they still exist elsewhere, you can still fetch them back.
And how do you do it?
That's the protocol. That's the IPFS protocol itself. Is that every time that I refer with a hash value, if it's local, it serves the local file. If it's not local, it asks the network, do you have that hash value? That's why it's a content addressable data. Is that if the hash does not link to local data. It asks the peers, do you have that hash? If yes, send it to me. And when it's sent, you verify that the hash corresponds to the contents, and you store it locally. And you can redistribute it to other peers too. So that's the protocol, the IPFS protocol, or any content addressable system. I mean, I can use other, I can use data, I can use other ones. But so it's guaranteed to be consistent once you fetch it. It can be locally corrupted, but that's your own. I mean, you can do garbage collection, you can do refresh, you can remove the things that you don't need, and then fetch them back once they need it. That type of thing. I think I'm pretty confident because you can run programs to verify the data coherency. I mean, it's pretty easy. If the file does not correspond to its hash, you can remove it because it's corrupted.
Yeah.
So the database is the integrity of the database is guaranteed, or at least you can detect that it's wrong, and so you can have a layers that says, I mean, for sensitive, you will just test every files before using them. For the smart contract, that's what I do. Even I don't trust what the network is giving me, because the principle of blockchain is you don't trust the outside network. You only trust yourself and your local files. So you can verify first that your local files are okay, and then you can execute it. That type of thing.
All right. Just yeah.
And here I show the example as file system that can be total data that have no meaning. I mean, you can place any type of data. That can be binaries, that can be database, it can be any type of formats. I mean, it doesn't have to be readable in a browser. You can totally have a full website. I mean, I deploy my website the same way. So you can have a full website on the blockchain. And it's just it's like having a serverless or hostless website. Is that it's not hosted anywhere because it's pulling its own data from the network.
Yes. I remember just a few presentations about IPFS. It's a great system. Just if we're talking about my way of using computer, it's still slightly different, and we need to make this bridge between
exactly.
what you show and what are my habits of working with computer, and also the other users may have other experience and preferences.
Well, you have to build, that's for sure, you have to build an extra layer on top of that. Here, give you the ability of having a way of sharing data and updating the heads of the blockchain. So having mutables that point to an object, any type of object. So
yes.
From that, we can, like I was telling you, that I've in plan to put the TD weekly on top of that blockRing, so that you can have a mutable that points to the published version of the TD weekly, and everybody is add TDs and do like the wiki, the shared wiki. It will be even more than federated, because it won't have any servers federated server. It will be just there distributed.
Yes.
It will be a peer-to-peer weekly, more or less. And so what does that mean is that you will have the core of the TD weekly, that's the core of the JavaScript, that will be common and shared with everybody. and you will have individual block rings that will be the markdown files that people are publishing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's one important thing with my system is that the way you do discovery is that if you don't have the public key of your friends, you don't have access to their personal view or what they want to share. And so that's the important part. And the way I do address that problem of discovery is that in your My directory, I have not demonstrated that. Let me go back to, no, it's not this one. Where is my browser thing? Let's go back to 5120.
I think you showed it some time ago.
Yes, I showed it, but maybe that's where the 20 is. So what so here you have a folder identity to know who you are, but what I want to do, and I have a few scripts on that, but I've not demonstrated, that will be another, is you create a friends directory or trusted friends, and here you will make like new folder, Dimitri. And basically what I would do is that this folder will be the head of your blockchain that you share, or a folder that you share with me. And so if you share your friends list, and you can have also friends like that. And so I can have my friends, Dimitri friends, and I can travel the human network this way.
Yeah.
And so that's a way of discovering. But that means is totally building a web of trust on top of that system. Is that without the web of trust, I have nothing. I mean, without the web of trust, I'm totally isolated in my own bubble.
Yes, yeah, yes.
And so the question is, you have to connect the bubbles, and the way you have to connect the bubbles is by intentionally opening some part of your file, some part of your database, some part of whatever, some of the block rings to others. And that's the way the command publish, that's the role of the command publish. The publish is say, I make those 3 folders visible by others that have my keys. And so you have to, so if you publish your public keys in those files, then you open it to the world. If you keep only permanent records, then you only share like a snapshot of your bubble. Every time you publish, you broadcast a snapshot of your bubble to the world. It's not the current mutable full permanent record. It's just a snapshot at that time when you publish. If you decide you don't want to share anymore, the people that does not have, if you never publish your public key, they will not be able to see what's going on when you decide not to publish to them anymore. I don't know if you know the difference.
Yeah, that's great. No, that's fine. It's like you're sharing a link to a folder.
Yeah, but it's a link to a folder that is immutable. So it's a link from the past. If you pass bubble, you take a snapshot, it belongs to a past bubble, but they never had access to the full-fledged current living one.
Can you do sharing dynamic content as well? Not just a snapshot, but dynamic as well.
Well, that's what is tricky. Is if you share dynamic, you really have to trust the person, because this person will always have access to the dynamic content.
Okay. Yeah, but
So
that is technically possible. Yeah.
yeah, so that's a question of sharing the mutable or sharing the immutable.
Yes, yes, that's fine. Yeah.
I have placed a rule. I always place the rules that in this file system, I placed only immutable objects. I mean, you can have exceptions. Is that if you place only immutable object, it's always a snapshot. However,
No, yeah.
you can have an exception. For instance, you can say, I have a public directory, and this public directory, you will share mutable one.
Absolutely, yes.
So that means the public directory will be always visible with the latest, greatest version, and you cannot deny access to anyone with that folder. And so you have to make sure is that once you decide that it's a mutable object, unless you discard the mutable totally, you revoke it, it's available for everyone, anywhere, anytime.
Good.
So it has a security application. So that's why I have the two distinction, mutable and not mutable, to make sure that you control what you broadcast. Okay, that was my way of doing it, because I want to make sure that you can have a fine control on the access to everyone.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. I like it very much. So yeah, the second question is more like about TiddlyWiki. So we have separate HTML files on my computer with the names of the topics. Is that true? Yeah.
I don't understand. What is the question?
No, just I'm confirming that in TiddlyWiki we have separate files on
yes,
on the hard drive.
A TiddlyWiki is a standalone full weekly in one file. Why not?
No, just there are some versions where all the pages are published as separate files on the file system of a computer.
Well, there's version. If you have a TiddlyWiki server, you have that way.
Yeah, probably. I do not remember the details now.
Yes, okay. But it's not web page. It's Markdown, right? You have just the minimum thing, right? Like if I create a Tiddly like that, it will save that Tiddler into one file. Is that correct?
Yes, it will be separate file on my hard drive.
Then that's perfect. I mean, that's what we need.
Yeah, but I still need to go through TiddlyWiki because I didn't touch it for a few years now.
Yeah, same thing for me. The thing is I always use the standalone one, so which has the full all the JavaScript in one file. I never use the separated files, and I even don't know if by default it is. I think you have to install the server for that, to my opinion.
It can be Node.js, but
well, yeah, if it's a Node.js, I mean it's a server version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do not remember details now.
Okay.
Just I can show you my screen. Are you familiar with semantic search?
Well, it depends. Yes and no, but you tell me.
It's actually semantic. Yeah.
Because I used TiddlyWiki at the time before Node.js. So to me, it was just an atomic wiki in one HTML file with all the JavaScript in it.
It's okay. Just we do not have to use any particular engine. Just we need to realize functions. It's not very important how namely we want to do it. Just it's actually a semantic launcher. It's that's what I mean. You see the black strip in the middle of the screen. And let's see what we have from TiddlyWiki left on this computer. You see, when I start typing,
It's search, yeah.
It is searching through my computer. And what I can find here that I got Tiddly desktop,
Yes.
which may be related something to it. Yeah, and in a similar way, when I start typing, well, yeah, just for example, when I do my invoices,
it's a desktop search type of thing.
Yep. So that's exactly or very similar to what I need when we've been talking about a cognitive assistant. So I do not really have to know what is where. I just need to get the access to this particular topic or file directory, just whatever is there.
Tiddly has a built-in search within the wiki itself.
Yes, I know it is searching, but we should still separate search through a database or through a single file, and this kind of search from the files on the computer.
Yeah, but that means you have to index. The thing is that all those search rely to an indexing, right? Or not?
Yes.
Do you have to run index? So the problem is that on a huge amount of data, like if we share like a worldwide database, or we have a worldwide repository, because that's exactly what the blockRing gives you access. You have human readable name that are globally shareable. And so it's like we have a worldwide global file system. And so with that type of thing, it's huge, the amount of data. I can do friends of friends of friends of friends and travel forever, right? So the database is enormous, and then you cannot index it. So you have to have a way of doing the same thing for your link in mind. It can be huge. It's point to point to point to point to point pointers. It's a mesh of pointers.
Not exactly. Just when I'm looking for something specific, I'm looking in a so-called semantic domain.
Yeah, but that means the semantic domain, that means it has to be indexed beforehand. And the indexing, what does that mean? You have robots that travel the mesh of links.
Yeah, but we have time for that. It doesn't have to be delivered immediately. Just what I'm searching is basically what I already have on my computer, which is already pre-indexed. It is structured. I just get access to a specific semantic domain.
Okay.
And so then I just see what is where. And so I shared a link with you on the messenger.
So that means is you create indexes and you share your linked indexes. You link your index with my index, for instance.
Yeah. So it's
but that means so on the blockRing levels, what does that mean is that we have indexes that we place on the structure on the blockRing, and then you can point to some of your indexes.
Yes and no, because the index tables will be different, and also the index names should be linked not by words and phrases, but by the meaning of these indexes, which may be different at different people.
But how you describe the meaning is a series of words, right?
Yes, but still, it's again a convention between, for example, two people or groups of people, how they namely using these words.
Yes.
It's more about human interaction than computer thing, where artificial intelligence can be useful, but to a certain extent only.
Yeah, so that means you create your index based on a certain convention, and you share.
Yeah, not necessarily. Yeah, the convention also comes through interaction of people. If, for example, people are sitting in different bubbles, they do not have to share
interact.
anything.
Yes.
Just when it happens that one of the bubbles, one of the members of the bubbles come to interaction, they may decide that they talk in these specific terms, using the terms for specific situations and phenomena. And so, yeah, just it's all kind of live process where consensus can be difficult or time consuming, and in many
Yeah,
cases
yeah,
unreasonable.
but for instance, I have some facts on my computers, and I have a certain way of searching it and viewing it. I have a way of indexing it, and I want to open up that my data to you,
Mhm.
and vice versa. How do we proceed? That we share links, right?
We share links, but not only links, but also the structures. So all these structures are shared too. It's not just an index, it's a knowledge network or associative network.
Yeah, but that
And
means
so,
it's a network of links that points on different topic. It's linked topic, basically.
yes, just it's important thing which we should not just omit. Just the structure and content of this network may be similar. Just the similarity is not just by the topics of the by the names of the topics, but
Yeah.
also the place of each topic in a bigger structure, in overall bigger structure.
But this is so because all those link and meaning were created by humans.
Yes,
It's like if I create a new topic about like the falling of the leaves during winter, I will
hmm
try to hook it up to the network at a certain point.
yes,
And the fact that I link that document that I'm describing to another place, to a place in the document, that give the meaning of of
Abs-
of my right of my document.
yes, absolutely.
Okay, and so that means that that's perfect for the tools that I am doing, because you can have you have your document and you decide. So you basically you have the network of meanings, the network of links that are already in a block ring, for instance, like semantic. You can call it semantic view of the world or whatever it is. And I add a document and I say, oh, this document, I add it at that place. Like if you see, you have a hierarchical structure of words here, right?
Yes,
Like
yeah,
the
yeah,
top, business, management, so on. And so I can reproduce the exact same tree view on a blockchain.
yes, absolutely. Yeah,
And so that means everybody will browse the same way, and that can be web page also. There can be wiki web page the same way. That can be TV.
yes, yes, yes.
And yeah,
Mm,
and so people want the people won't search because there is no global index. The people will just navigate and travel through a given path along the tree, or the graph. Can be a graph.
oh, well, different people like browsing. Other people like finding just straight away what they are looking for.
Yeah, but the finding imagine that you have an infinite network. The
Yes,
finding is very hard if you have no tools to index it all.
we do not have to index kind of. Well,
So
look, just hold on. Just just in my mind, when I open my computer for downloading a global network, I just tell I just download whatever is similar to my associative network, to my knowledge network from
internet, say, from
Yes.
the world within a limit, for example, of 1 GB. That's all. And so then the software should be able to download everything, which
Okay.
is as similar as possible.
Yeah, but that's where you're missing a point. Is that this first step to decide which data you download, it's a tools that has the knowledge of everything.
Yep.
And the knowledge of everything means that there is some kind of a software that went to everywhere.
Yes.
And that means it's indexing. It's a Google bot that travel the web. It's that type of thing. And so you do
Yes.
that by traveling and discovery while traveling. And that's why I say is there's an action of indexing everything you see while you're traveling the path, the network tree. And if
Yes.
this task has not been done before, you have
Uh,
no clue of where to start.
I think it's being done for in the systems like torrents.
Yeah, but same thing. Torrents is the same thing that my block rings.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I
That
understand. Yeah.
you have to know like my block string is totally a bubble isolated from the world. I need to
Yes.
have a centralized way of accessing the rest of the world. Meaning, I need to have the window open to the world. Where is this window? It depends on my friends. It depends on your side. It depends on your knowledge. It depends on all different parameters. And how you access that is you open the world by saying, "Oh, my friend is Dimitri," and that's enough. I have access to his knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
But that means that the work that you have been done indexing your own knowledge and the work that I've been done for indexing mine is shared, and then I can navigate and I can discover from those two bubbles. But then you have to add, and then it still won't be the world unless you connect to somebody else.
Yes.
And so you have a set of bubbles that are limiting in space. You have access to just the knowledge of the people you already deals with.
Yes.
I don't know if and so that means that if you out of the blues, you know no one, and you have access to nothing unless you use an index mechanism like worldwide search.
Yes, it can be called an index. Just I do not like the word itself because it's just a linear structure compared to the network.
No. When I say index, is the database, if you want, rather than calling index. It's a graph that has been explored beforehand, so that you can do search by keywords on it.
Yes.
Meaning you can find stuff without knowing where they are before. That's the trick. To me, there's a difference between search and discovery.
Yes.
Search, you look in a database without knowing the location, or without knowing what you will find. That's the search. Discovery, you look along, you look while you travel along a graph.
Yes.
So it's like dynamic real-time indexing or database building. I don't know how you call it if you don't like the index, versus a previously run database build that you can reuse for search. But if you have not done the discovery, you cannot do the search. That's what I meant. I don't know if the vocabulary is speak to you, but I separate the traveling on a graph without knowing what it is versus the searching on a graph that has been already traveled, and so that the database has been built.
Yeah, technically yes. Yeah, if structure is not built, then there is nothing to navigate. That's right.
Or you go hop by hop, you link by link. It's like the web. The web, you go. I mean, at the very beginning of the web, before search engine, you have the top page of the web, right?
Well,
We used to have that.
yes, yeah, I understand. Yeah, just different people are still different. Some of them will build indexes, and as you call them, someone will build graphs and link relevant objects. The other, which may be the majority, will not do it, and
so,
that's where the need in a cognitive assistant, especially for them, is to make their mind around asking what is this particular topic relates to, or making these associations for them.
Yeah, but what does that mean is that the people that don't do index and that don't do graph will do a kind of search, and search rely on either an index that is built before and they reuse whatever is already built, or a graph AI that will just browse the graph and then do the linking themselves. It's like an automatic linking versus a human linking.
Well, they are looking for just like us. They are looking for topics by the name of the topics as they remember it. There is nothing.
Yes.
It's index in a sense that they just remember names of the topics and try to find it without building well.
But that means you have an AI that do the semantic linking for them.
No.
No?
like in this case, when I'm when I do invoices, I'm not using any artificial intelligence. I just go where
Yes, you do. You do look for. You do rely on a tool that has browsed your computer and that puts keywords in all the files in a table.
Yes.
And so you rely on that.
Yep.
And so you rely that the word invoice is found in the table, and I will point to a few documents. And so that means there is a tools behind that create that linking. And so in that case is what I call index or database. It's a database that make this search possible.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. Just without index, the search is not possible. But it doesn't mean that people will build these indexes themselves. Yeah, I agree.
If they don't build the index themselves, they rely on tools that build the indexes behind their back.
Absolutely, yes.
And so that's why I say is that you have the guys that do graphs manually, you have the guys that do index manually, and you have the guys that do search that rely on something else to do that for them.
Oh yes. Well, I think we're talking about the same things, just in different words.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, it's just because of language, yeah. And I don't know, you can use your words so that I adjust also based on your terminology.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So we can totally implement that with a TIDLI.
I think so.
On top of a blockchain, right? Or blockRing.
For the blockchain, yes, to me it's a kind of a security layer, what I see right now, and hopefully it also will be a value floor network.
To me, the blockRing does not need to be. I mean, the main advantage of that is not the security, because for that knowledge you probably don't care if it's secure or not. What's the advantage of having a blockchain type of thing is like it's a distributed database. So that means you don't have to have infrastructure, big software, or big machine to be able to serve that. Because here you rely on PVWorks for doing it. If you put a TD Weekly on top, you will rely on where you place the TD Weekly server. Versus that if you put on the blockchain, you don't rely on anything anymore. I mean, you separate the infrastructures versus the function.
Yes, you are right. Talking about content, but I have something particular in mind, which are projects in Africa, for example.
Yes.
And they need a kind of a local currency, yes, where these transactions already must be protected.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they must be
value is different. You have to protect, yes.
Protect, and also the consensus also must be there. So this local community should agree what amount of currency is issued, or the second scenario, the currency is issued on go when content or any physical values are created or traded. Does it make sense?
It makes sense for some system, but on the currency level, if we do cryptocurrency, there is a whole bunch of different currency that you can do. You don't have to decide on the consensus. You can have exchange value even without consensus. And I developed a different alternative currency on the blockRing for that purpose. So the main idea is you use the same thing in the blockchain and as a ledger, where everybody has their personal ledger. That means their balance sheet. Everybody has their balance sheet, and so it's an Excel table. You can have an Excel table. Everybody has their own Excel table that are shared on the blockRing. And the only things that is required is the smart contract to merge the Excel sheet. You have my Excel sheet, which is my balance account, and my neighbors or the merchant's balance sheet. And if the transactions are compatible, let's say I give 5 units of value for 3 kilograms of potatoes, and you can record this transaction on your Excel sheet. The merchant record is, if they are matched, you can merge. If they are compatible, you can automatically merge the Excel sheet, and you get the new one. And so you don't need anything else. So the value even is totally relative, because it's always an agreement between the value exchange is an agreement exchanging between two peoples. And so it's merging the two ledgers, and that's it. If they agree of a price, and for doing the exchange, they agree of a price. And even if, no matter what value it is, doesn't care. And so you can even have values that are relative to the individual. Like if to me, if like I run across a desert, a bottle of water will be much more valuable for me than the one that lives next to a well.
Yeah.
And so you can even have that reflect in the cryptocurrency and still allow the exchange. Because to allow the exchange, what they only need to have is that the value of the one that offers the services is lower than the one that is asking for the services. You don't need anything else. And so if you use that type of value system, you can enable commerce, exchange, negotiation with relative values. So it's there is a whole theory about it's called theory of relative theory of money.
And that's right. Yes.
And it's totally different set of currencies, and you don't have to control. They have a control emission creation of money like we do in countries. you can have everybody self-sovereign, and they are sovereign of the creation of their own wealth. And so,
well, it's not that easy.
It's another topic,
Well,
but we can have another call for that. But so in Africa, if you need like a currency things, you can set up something that is you need still some agreements. To me, currency is a measure. It's a measure of value. And so, like when you measure distance with a meter, you have a system where you agree with people. You measure with meter. Some others measure with inch, and you have a way of comparing those two. But when you exchange dimension, you have to agree on a system of unit. And that's the same thing with money. You have two persons that have two different system of values. You have to agree of a system of unit for the exchange to be able to have the negotiation occurring. And so that can be taken care of by the monetary or the currency system.
Yes, in theory, it's all doable. The only problem is to realize it in a very simple way for those people to understand and accept.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, that's the only problem.
Yes, I have paper cryptocurrency paper money, which is pretty good. I can show you
Okay.
that. It's like a value that you actually. So it's like a bill. You have banknotes. So it's like having banknotes, but you don't need. They are reusable. It's like you have a banknote like a value 5, value 10, and you have in your wallet. And there's two types. One that are on the bearer, so you carry the bill, and then you can give it away, or the one that you only that are personalized. It's only your version. So if someone steals it, they cannot use it.
Yeah.
And so if you have those that are personalized. And you can have even fancy them. You can do nice graphics and art for personalizing your banknote and that type of thing. But you have a print of all different what do you call it, numeration. Like you have a 5, a 10, a 50. And so what you do, you present that banknote to the merchant. It scan it. No, you scan it first. That's activated, meaning it's transferable. And then the merchant scan it. It's transferred on your on the merchant account. And what's important is that you keep the paper banknote for reuse. It's reusable. And if someone steals it, if it's not activated, you cannot transfer it anywhere. If you lose it, you can reprint one, and it's fine. And so it's a question of once it's activated, then it can be stolen. But you do it scan once, you activate, scan 2, you transfer. So it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I like the idea. Yes.
Yeah.
It can be. Yeah. It can be a few scenarios.
Yes.
Regarding this. Yeah, it's good.
There you go.
All right.
So you have a big overview of what we can do beyond just a file. So the thing is you have to know is that I can link data. So the IPFS, so IPFS is file system, but below IPFS there's a protocol that is called IPLD, which is interplanetary linked data. So that means it's linking objects even if it's not files. And so you can it's just you build a graph. Yeah, it's a graph of objects, and then it's the application that deal with the object. So you can link anything else than just file, and it's still the same.
Yes. Yeah. I'm convinced very much that the backend will be working fine. My concern is only a front end. Just ideally, each of the users should have an impression that he is working with his operating system on the computer.
Yes, but if you have a web browser, then you're totally fine.
even with no web browser.
Oh,
Because
okay, but
you
then
see,
you need to have some application, right?
sorry?
You need to have a front-end UI application.
Yes, so it will be similar to this semantic launcher.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Ideally with the cognitive assistant as a part of this semantic launcher.
But why you want to redo the work of a browser? Because you can always have that hidden behind the browser, right?
Ideally it should be just one interface to everything, but some clear distinction between your personal files and files or topics open publicly, or with some custom security.
Well, that's why the browser is nice, because if you have a browser, the two worlds are separate. The local files versus the public files.
Yes, can be. Just sometimes, well, I'm not sure how to explain it better. Just I see it as it's a kind of operating system anyway, of a higher level.
Okay.
Where you do not have to know where each particular idea or thought of or topic is sitting where. Yeah. So you just communicate with your computer and you get it, and then you realize that this is probably a secret document. You better not to touch, not to show it anyone.
Okay. So I have in mind a different, maybe similar way. It's like rewriting the file browser or file system, so that because it's everything is content addressed in my world, and you have like a way of exploring the file system, that's the file system of your computer plus the file system, the global file system, the worldwide file system.
Okay? Yeah.
And the only difference is that you can have a browser or explorer that tell you where the file is located. And so it's like having little flags when you open the files in your editor, whatever, you have little files that say, oh, this file is local, this file is shared, and this file is public, or this file is backup. So you can know where they are, the other copies of that files. So you can see, oh, it's only on my computer, oh, but it's also on my phone, and it's also on the cloud. And so you can just tick or untick those flags. That's if you want to have it secure, you say only on my phone. If you want to have it public, you say in the cloud, or in the public cloud, in the private cloud. And so it's totally transparent behind the user. The user just browse the knowledge, search, and get the files, they get the data, has no clue where it is, beside the three little flag, local, shared, and public, for instance. Privately shared and public.
Yeah. For me, it's not critical.
Yes.
The way you say, it can be browser. Just from my previous experience, I used to these semantic launchers. That's all. They are just 2 clicks away. I mean, 2 push button away from typing.
I used to use them in the past. I changed. There is period. Some people like them, some people don't. So I think we have to provide both. I guess both interfaces.
We have to provide many options. Yes, to be convenient for different people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you know not on Linux but on Windows, everything, the search engine, everything, or the index is just index? Well, it's not index actually. It's just right. The thing is that computers have enough memory to load up the full tree of the file system in their memory.
Yes. I believe so, yes.
And so that way you can really search pretty fast any files on any computer. And so basically, the tools load the full map of the file system in memory, and then you have the tools, an interface to search for it. The advantage of that is that it creates on-the-fly index, basically, but you can create static index just following a structure, and you can create like a semantic or a topic taxonomy, whatever things on it, and you have access to the same tool. And so it will point you to files by mapping a virtual, basically, file system based on what you search. So it's like you build up the tree, a virtual tree of files based on what you search, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, it's possible, of course. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so how would you go from there?
Depending where we are going to. So if it can be, you see, it can be, for example, well, I'm pulling the blanket to myself, automation of my work.
Yeah.
Or it can be going into peer-to-peer collective intelligence platform and seeing where we are starting there.
Yeah. Automation of your work, that means the creation of the links of the network. That's what it is. What automation means on your side?
Yeah, just let's see. Well, it's basically what I explained, that so when I have a thought, it should be transferred into opening a file or executing a command.
So to me, the thought is like you create a thought, and basically you need to have a tool that being able to link it to the existing network. So like find a best match, or where you want to, or something that help you to suggest where you should link it.
Yes, absolutely. And so that is already a function of a cognitive assistant. So it's a kind of semantic matching to available topics or commands.
So it's creating the graph, right? With the thought, you create a graph associated with that thought.
We can think, yes, that the graph is already there. Like
okay.
I showed before an example. It's already there somewhere on the computer. It's kind of static, but not quite static, because the bots will do their jobs all the time, and this structure will be dynamic, trying to combine as many information from your peers as possible. But then still you will be able to access either your thoughts or thoughts of others, which is related. It's like in this cloud of thoughts, like this semantic domain. So and so if something is not going quite what you expected, you can adjust your thoughts and do it either manually or with the help of this cognitive assistant. But I'm already describing kind of a final product, which is far away from where we now. So what can be done?
What I think is we have to separate the network. There's a static part and the dynamic part.
Yes.
And I like to separate, because then it's easier for the database, and then your static part, you can push it on the network, on the cloud, and then the dynamic part can be just local. That's what usually I do, is that to me, the dynamic is local, static is shared. And the reason why I do that is that everything that you publish it does not belong anymore to your bubble. And so that means it has to be shared. That means it will enter. Is the knowledge that you ship, you broadcast or around, is like it's piece of information that you leave behind your trail basically, and so it's permanent memory, and so it has to be including in others' bubble or others' reality to be able to be used dynamically. Other than that, it's just information and it's permanent information. So to me, the graph of knowledge is a permanent graph that you always that is always blooming, basically, is you build up on top of it. And so your view of the knowledge graph is the link that you permanently edit and modify and have your AI that's do the creation for you, and then you validate within your graph. You publish that. It's like you make that knowledge available, and someone else will merge with his own graph, type of thing. And the collection of all those graphs is the public knowledge.
Yeah, well, we should probably start from something simple and then see which functions.
Yeah. So can we do on top of Tidly, or what would be how you graph that database? What is the format? You have a file that describes the graph, or it's a bunch of files that you have to travel through, or how does that work?
I'm not sure what you're saying about the graph. Just you see, it is prototyped in one of the platforms, but it doesn't have to be that way.
No, but if it's not that way, the knowledge, how do you represent on the high level? The knowledge is linked of topic, right? It's like a tree. It's like a graph where you got nodes of like, if you have a word, you have nodes of at space. Okay.
No, it's I'm just trying to get somewhere from there.
Okay.
In hope, yeah.
So my question is that, do you have like all those topics is like titles or subjects that are linked together? So that's a tree. That's a tree of nodes. A graph of nodes where the nodes has an attribute, title or subject, and the leaves of that graph are the documents.
Yes, documents, so, but also other branches, like here, for example.
It can be another tree or whatever branch, yeah. And so, do you have a representation of that tree or that graph somehow, somewhere in one unique database that we can share, or is it what is the physical form of that?
Well, you see what happens now. We have, if we're talking about like in Mind, it's partially on PBWorks and partially on Debit Graph.
So it's two databases then?
Two databases, yes. Just to get structure from PBWorks, we have to do parsing of the pages. For example, the branches are here, listed under subcategories section. The leaves are here in the pages.
Okay, so that means that you use the PBWorks documents to describe the graph of knowledge.
Yes.
So to extract that, you have to parse the pages. So it's not the PBWorks database. Is within the page so of PBWorks.
Exactly. Just in this condition. We have two, but look, we have a presentation in a text format here,
yes,
and in the graph format on Debit Graph. It's duplicate information.
So, but is it the exact same information, right?
No. Well, potentially yes.
You want to have it the same?
I'm doing it manually, but yes. It may have some
discrepancies. Yes.
Discrepancies. Not everything may be recorded on a graph.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be consistent, but I may have mistakes.
Okay, so the plan is that I see two database or two set of data that represent the same graph of knowledge. One visually, one clickable linked pages.
It's only ways of representing the same structure, I would
Exactly.
say.
But it's logically described twice. Once in the debate graph and once in PBWorks pages, right?
Yes, ideally we need to find the similarity. So yes.
So what I would like to suggest is that, what about if we modelize a way of describing your knowledge graph in any type of language that can be a dot files or whatever thing, you know, the directed object, what is the dot file format? Well, a language to describe graphs. And so that will be just one file that can point to other things. But then we can generate from that files the debate graph view or graphical view, and the page view that can be TIDLI. We can generate TIDLI page based on that graph. Or we can do the other way around. We can say everybody edit on the TIDLI, make the graph on the TIDLI, and we extract from the TIDLI the graph data file.
Yes, that's probably better.
That means we have only one reference, one source, and we have to decide what is the easiest way to capture knowledge. And then we use that source to derive the data that we will share. And to me, the source needs to be that graph model that used in any type of language that we decide to use, and then we use the TIDLI or other tools to capture the knowledge. But I think we can start with TIDLI or any type of weekly that can be PBGraph, but PBWorks, sorry.
You see, I would probably rely on you. What is easier to realize with yourself? Just
I mean, to me, extraction of an existing database can be tough, especially if you have doing it manually. You might have mistakes, you might have that type of thing, and it's hard to deal with those typos and stuff like that. I mean, on the automatic point of view, and so if we start with something that is machine readable, it will be super nice. I mean, today, how do you extract the data from PBWorks? Do you have tools for extracting that or not?
Just I want to find just this.
The add-on.
The add-on. Just hold on.
I mean, maybe that's not that complicated, but basically, it's a web spider that you have to work, right? Maybe more or less.
Web spider.
No?
Well, it's API.
Oh, you
it
have
can be
an
web
API.
spider.
But
PBWorks has an API. Okay. I just want to find it.
Oh, so it's not bad.
And partially this work is already done. That's why I was talking about this before. And you see, this is where we find it on GitHub.
Yeah. Okay.
So what it does, it can download pages as JSON files.
Oh, yeah, you told me.
And then we can edit those pages and upload them on the server PBWorks.
Okay, so you have a JSON format of the whole tree then?
I'm not sure. I know about the files, but I cannot tell about the whole tree. Okay. But so the whole tree can be browsed here, pages and files.
Oh, you can have a file system view of that.
Yeah, let's see what is in there.
Yeah, that might not be bad either.
So it's again kind of parsing.
Yeah, but it's still a lot of work to me. because to get the parser really right and does not choke on all the little subtleties.
What can also be done is
especially you have also different languages.
mostly two. It will be French, I think, next.
That's tricky. That's a tricky thing. Is that also when you do cross-country knowledge is how you map the topic in one language with topics in another language, right? It's kind of tricky.
Well, you see, we just need to get started and create maybe a minimal lovable product or
Yes,
transfer it into minimal or viable product, and then that will be a beginning of our project.
Yeah.
We should be able to start selling products or services and then develop it further.
Yes, for sure.
That's my vision, the only vision I have in my mind.
So here it's just a collection of files, right? Do you have folders? Is it structured or is it just all flat?
It's mostly flat. If just I'm still thinking how to do it better. Well,
do you have the top? Do you know the top view of? Do you have a file that corresponds to the top?
Top is here.
So you have like 400 megabytes of data, basically.
Sorry?
It's not too bad. Yeah, I see 369 megabytes. So it's just file. It's just flat file.
I don't see megabytes, but
yeah, on the green on top. Yeah, you have a green.
I see a top here.
Yeah. So
what I'm surprised is by this number.
Well, so you have 226 files, and that represent like a 369 megabytes on top.
No. Just it must be more than 50,000. It's This is a current number, and a few files are hidden in these folders. But some of those folders are belonging to a project which closed.
I see. I see.
For example, this is closed, and then I think that we need an add-on for Firefox, which will be
searching
for topics online, and then allowing just
so
we can try to download it automatically. Just also download is already being done from here. All the files can be downloaded as one zip folder.
Oh, cool!
Yes, in one shot, and so they will be HTML files.
Is there other option than HTML files? Like when you open a file, it's an HTML file that you open?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, can you send me a zip file and then I try to hack it around? And
you see, it will have all those folders which I promised to keep closed.
So give me one example then. Can you just do a zip of one folder?
Yes, I will do what is possible, sure.
Or a few, maybe not one, maybe one or two, so that I know the difference.
I will. I will make a copy of as many files as possible.
Yes.
From that zip folder, from the archive.
Because what I would like to do is build a graph. Just the graph in a generic open source model, and then we can try to either rebuild pages with that graph, so that like we can build a Tiddly wiki. So the ideally that would be nice is that from PB work we extract the current graph of PB work, and we transform it into a Tiddly wiki pages. And then we start from there. We can edit the Tiddly wikis and so that we can also move it on a P2P, put it on a blockchain, and that type of thing.
Yes,
So,
that's right. Oh, just a second. So, but you said one interesting thing as well, which is also very useful, is web crawling. Can we do web crawling of whatever is open here on Like and Mind?
yes, but if the file is there, it's probably easier to crawl the files rather than the web crawling.
Oh, okay.
Because
Right.
the web crawler, I mean, you have to do. I mean, you have, yeah. You have to deal with all the JavaScript, evaluate the JavaScript, and everything is tough.
That's all right.
I mean, it's not only the web crawling is dynamic pages, it's not only static data. Versus the file is only static data, which is easier to parse. The other way, I mean, yeah. The thing is also web crawling. You can go off the of the rail if there is a link elsewhere, and then you will never finish.
Yes,
you might crawl the whole web if you do web crawling.
You see, what I'm trying to do is some people had an idea that if they have their own page on PBWorks,
yes,
we could create this add-on, which will be federated wiki for each of us, based on PBWorks platform. If that makes sense.
But so that means you would instantiate the. So so that means the add-on will give you the files, access to the files, and then you will republish the files somewhere else.
Yes, so that's what I thought. That maybe
the thing that I don't like is to me, I have a golden rule is that the data needs to be in only one place if it's mutable, and several places if it's not mutable. That means that if the data, if you edit the data, you need to do it on only one copy somewhere.
That's right. Just
and
I'm thinking about
duplicate the data is a danger for corrupted record.
Absolutely right. Yeah, you're right. Just I'm thinking about how to organize already this transition for myself from PBWorks to TiddlyWiki. And so then it will. Can it be this scenario that the whole directory is downloaded on my computer?
Yes.
But I start working with this
yes.
maybe in TiddlyWiki, but then each page should have a flag that I will decide to make this page open or hidden.
Yes.
Or closed just for myself. Yeah, and if the decision is not made, it will remain closed to others.
Okay. Yeah. So by default, it's all closed unless the page that are decided open. So
yes, I think that
you have a flag to say it's like okay to migrate to TiddlyWiki.
Yeah.
Or a flag that says TiddlyWiki version. Whatever it is.
I think when we download the whole structure from PBWorks, it will be just one database which we are working with, and that database will already be TiddlyWiki, to my understanding.
Yes, but also you extract only the filtered files. Can you filter the files when you do extract? No, you extract it all, right?
Yeah. So if we do files, yeah, it can be easier maybe. Yeah,
the files is easier.
Yeah. It will be still the same. Yes.
The other thing is that on every page that you want to migrate, you can put a link. You can edit the page and put a keyword that says migrate, or you put a location. You can put a URL on the TiddlyWiki. If the URL is present, then we migrate. If there is no URL, we don't do anything.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Oh, great. There are ways.
That's automatically link basically the PBWorks to TiddlyWiki.
Yes.
Like we do a TiddlyWiki URL, in every article that you want to have a version. And then we can just get the zip file of all the files. We pass all the files. If the link exists, we create the page.
Oh,
Basically,
interesting.
we create the page for all TD Weekly broken link. That's the one way. That can be one way of doing it, and that's probably easier. That means you can still work on PBWorks as long as you want to have a TD Weekly view. You put a reference to it.
Yes, but yes, absolutely. Just I was thinking already working with local versions of Tiddly Wiki and upgrading only those pages which are asked or by others, for example. Never mind.
Well,
that sounds great.
Better. You know better.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's just absolutely fascinating what you offer. Let's try to do it. Thank you very much.
Okay. So your job is to give me a set of files with markers so that I know which one I can play with.
Absolutely, we'll do it.
Okay.
Just tomorrow. It's just it will be another busy day, and tomorrow night I will do it.
You have to, not even if it's going next week, because I'm busy too. And also I might have to go for a week in Paris. I have to help my brother with some construction thing, and so I might be totally off the grid for 1 week.
Where are you now?
I'm in Switzerland.
Oh,
Lausanne.
Okay.
Switzerland, Lausanne.
Oh, great. Yeah, must be beautiful there.
It's cold. Right now it's cold.
Is it the mountains?
There's mountains everywhere. We already have snowed. Not in the city itself, but just up here, it's all covered with snow already.
Yeah. I can imagine. Yeah.
So yeah, it's summertime on your side, right?
It is hot. Not too hot, but yeah.
Yeah.
25, 30.
So, yeah, we should exchange thermal energy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you very much, Michel. Very good presentation.
And
very encouraged.
If you have further questions, we can also have another call, especially on specific topic. Like if you want to address the currency things, we can make a topic just for currencies and that type of thing.
Yes,
special is like sharing knowledge for the farmers of Africa. You can define exactly a very small subset.
Yes, and not only in Africa, because I'm looking for a platform of building local social networks for farmers here in New Zealand.
Yes.
And it may also generate some income for our project.
Yeah. So think about this way: is that I'm providing an empty white book that is globally available, and you're providing with your system the rule of how to write the book. And so the two together is to make it usable. Is how you can collaborate. Is that you have the material support, which is the empty white pages in the book, and you have the way to communicate and the rules of organizing the data.
Sure.
Both alone are totally useless. The two together can create things, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. So it's you're dictating the way we should work with the empty book. Is what to write and how and so that's why I need to have. You're very valuable in the sense that you will make the how do you say, the format, the language that people will use with that media.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Andrew,
excellent.
I wish you a good night because it's probably late on your side.
Just a bit. It's all right. Thank you very much. It was a long talk.
Okay. Have a
excellent.
Nice night. And bye-bye.
Yes. Yeah. And good day for you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.